second meeting brought to you from the Longwood Room at Village on the Green. Period. I was going to go on. My name is Ann Blair. I represent the chair of the Resident Council. And first of all, I wanted to say, for those who might not be familiar, can everybody hear me? Loud and clear, loud and clear, good. For those who might not be familiar with the number 651, that refers to the Florida statute that governs CCRCs that requires our management to report to us 4 times a year, quarterly. So being March, this is our first quarterly report from management, official report. Now, of course, Village on the Green management goes further than that. We have reports every single month, updates, but these are the quarterly ones that get reported to the Office of Insurance Regulation. So that's what that's all about. Now, do we have any newcomers physically with us today? Okay, I see Charlie back there. Charlie is over at the assisted living at the Oaks. He's relatively new, Charlie Madge. He was chair of his resident council at a community south of here, somewhere near Lee Road, as I understand. So welcome, Charlie. Glad to have you. Now, at this point, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Vernon because it is his report to you all. And then I'll try to keep track of anything that isn't covered by the team members that took place at our council meeting, and I'll do that at the end of this, okay? Thank you. Vernon.
All right. I feel so official with the gavel, too, so thank you. So again, thank you so much. My name is Vernon Ziegler. I am the executive director here on Village on the Green, and it truly is my pleasure to serve you. And thank you for always making me feel so welcome to our community. A couple updates before I pass it on to a couple of my colleagues here. I do want to give you several different updates, and as Ann had mentioned, yes, we feel like we're overachievers. Even though this is the official 651 meeting, there are many communities that only do this meeting every quarter. We do it every month, so a lot of this information hopefully won't be necessarily new to you, but this is also something of our way of making sure that we communicate on an effective basis with our residents. One of the things that we do have coming up is our Phase 3 project. We are still waiting on our permitting, but we are told that we are getting very close to that. We have started meeting with our contractor, DS Fritz, who has been chosen to do the project. And as you know, based on some of our blackboards and door hangs and things that we've given, you can see some of the project boards and things that we have out there. So we are very excited about that project and what that looks like moving forward. So as soon as we have an official date, what we will do is make sure that we get that information out. I've got some easels ready, some pictures ready to show, and then we'll have a meeting with some of our redevelopment team as well as some other folks in the room here to keep you abreast on what's going on there. So that's the update with the Phase 3. Also, as part of the Phase 3, even though it's not necessarily an operational aspect of that, we also have the Spiritual Center, which has been in the works for a while now. And so that's going to be part of our project. As you can imagine, doing that project at the same time will make it a lot more cost effective for us to do a lot of that at that same period of time. So we are raising finances and things for that project. Many of you have met with Nancy Wolf, who is our VP of Philanthropy, in regards to some of the projects and things that we've been doing. So thank you, and we are having those donations coming through. So at our next foundation meeting, we will have an update on some of those dollars and be able to share that. And anything that we cover during that meeting will be in door hangs and through Blackboard. You'll also see that on Touchdown as well. So thank you. Also wanted to share with you some other exciting news. I feel like I'm full of exciting news today. So one of the other things was, as mentioned before, we had a job fair this past Saturday, and it was a huge success. And what you define a lot of that by is your return on investment, right? So if you have, for example, for our job fair, we had 20 people that showed up for it during that period of time, and we actually hired 15 people. Yes, yeah, thank you for that applause, it's very good, yes. So we had six people for the health center, 4 for the AL and memory care, and 5 in our home health department. So as you know, the one thing that we try not to do is just hire somebody with a heartbeat. We want to hire people that are qualified, individuals who will really represent our community well. And I do want to share a special thank you to Mindy and Dr. Abbas for their time that day as well. And many of you have helped with our past job fairs also. So thank you in advance for any other future help that you're going to provide. So very excited about that, and we're going to continue to expand our programs and provide the quality that you as our residents deserve. So also a couple other bits of information that we're working on. I had mentioned this to the resident council, and I'm sure you're going to talk about it a little bit more. One of the things that I really try to do as a community is be proactive rather than reactive in many areas. And as I've been on the campus long enough now, about 8 months, there's a lot of things that our team members, when we meet, we talk about. We have leadership meetings every week. We have transitions meetings. We have a lot of things that maybe you don't see behind the scenes, but just know we're all working towards the same goal of making our community better and stronger. And one of those areas that we see as we drive into our community, and especially in some of our apartments, are that you'll see a lot of that mildew that's built up on the side of the buildings from the old drain system that we have here on campus. And one of the things that we're trying to do is make sure that we're addressing that so that's not a continued eyesore. Every time I turn around, we're pressure washing and we're painting. A week or 2 later, what happens? We're having the same issue again. So one of the areas that we really have invested some time in, and I've been working with Chris Soden from our home office in regards to that, is a permanent fix for that. So now we're not just band-aiding the problem, we're actually fixing it. So you're going to hear more information about that very soon, but we have come up with a plan that will help cut that down, so when our maintenance teams, we actually clean up and we paint, it'll stay nice and clean. We want to keep up with what we have. We're also doing some roof repairs. We're also looking at the berm out back as well. I joked with the resident councilor earlier last week about, I thought that was a pond, but it wasn't. It's actually a berm. So we've actually been working with our engineers. One of the other areas we've been looking at is you look outside the main dining room area, you'll see a lot of those dead trees that have been sitting there. Well, that shouldn't be. So that's another area that we've addressed, and we have kind of determined that there was some other issues that the engineer had to take some responsibility on as well. So we're working with the engineering company based on our arborist report to make sure that we are addressing that as well. So more information to come. So that's positive news from the perspective of trying to be proactive rather than just reacting to certain situations. So one other, I guess this is a bit of sad news, but also happy news. I think is Richard in the room? He may be working on a project. I know he's going to be here, but as we continue to grow as an organization, one of the things that we always want to look at is making sure that we have the right people in the right seat on the bus and what's best for them as well as for our organization. And with that being said, Richard is staying with us on campus, but he's just moving to a different role. So with that being said, we are in the process of hiring a new plant director / community services director here at the community. And this is actually a positive thing for him. It gives him a little bit more time to spend with his family, but also we have that knowledge that he brings to our campus as well. So I have had several residents and department heads kind of interview some folks. So as we get closer to making that decision, we'll keep you posted on that. But hopefully we'll still be able to utilize his knowledge. He isn't leaving, but we'll be able to get somebody who can move us forward in that direction long term. So just wanted to share that. And with that being said, I do want to make one pause because I know that Rick Oros, who is our VP of Health Services, is here. And I know he's got a pretty packed agenda. And thank you, Rick, for taking your time out of your busy schedule to pop over. I think many of you probably are familiar. I know the masked man over here, but I just wanted him to stand up a second. I don't know if there's anything, Rick, that you want to say in particular, but I want to make sure, as we've talked, the one thing I never want it to be is a surprise. Whenever we have home office visitors here, they're part of our team. We work together hand in hand, and I don't want them to ever be strangers to you. Oh, who's this guy that's here? So just wanted to introduce Rick.
Good morning. As you said, I'm Rick. A lot of familiar faces around the room. So I'm sorry. to have it being over in the health center. So a lot of familiar faces. It's great to see you all again. It's been a little while. Just spending some time over in the health center with Missy and the team. I'm working through some stuff, so I wanted to come drop by and say hello, and I hope you're all doing well.
Thank you, welcome.
Thank you.
And really do, Rick, when I came to the campus, he was one of the 14 interviews that I had before they made the decision to hire me here. And he's been just a godsend to me, so thank you for your service and your help in many areas. And I know I'm speaking for Missy when I say that, because they work very closely together as well. Some other visitors that are here, just so you know, in case you see them walking around campus, we have Megan, who's kind of in our marketing, health center, higher levels of living, sales and marketing team. She's here. And we also have Robin Hendren, who does the memory care programming. So she's gonna be here today and also tomorrow doing some training with some of the team members as well. So very excited to have them here. And make sure, Rick, before you leave, we put the signage up over here just welcoming you. So I know Sue put a lot of work into that, so I want to make sure she saw your name in the lights. So anyway, very good. And with Missy, working on a couple projects, I just want to give a brief update in regards to where we are with COVID. As you know, this isn't going away. This is an issue that I think we're just going to have to live with moving forward. But the good news is we have seen in Seminole County and in Florida our rates going down. So we were in the red, we were in the orange, and now briefly as of yesterday we're in the yellow, which means that our percentage rates continue to fall. But what that does not mean is that we still don't want to take our foot off the gas. We have to continue using our appropriate precautions, wearing masks when appropriate, when in big groups, washing your hands, social distancing when appropriate, because we want to make sure that we're protecting ourselves as well as others. Now, with that being said, Home Office and I were working very closely to see when it will be safe for independent living, for us to really get away from the mask altogether. But again, as I said, I think it's become part of our culture now. The health center, assisted living, and memory care, of course, anytime you're over there, they have very strict guidelines. We have to make sure that we are wearing our masks at all times, and we will continue to do temperature checks through the gates and stuff, because again, we want to make sure that we are keeping all of our residents and those visitors who are coming safe as well. So I think that is what I have for my report, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Sarah in sales to give you some exciting updates, and I'll be around for any questions afterwards. So thank you again for the opportunity to serve you.
Good morning. I am quite a bit shorter. Sorry for the squeak. Can you all hear me okay? Perfect. Well, it's been an exciting time in sales in the independent living here at Village on the Green. So just to keep you all updated, we ended the month of February at 184 occupied units, but we ended total campus occupied and sold 195 units, which means we have depositors who are moving in, some of whom have already started moving in this month. So we've already had 2 closings here in the month of March. We're expecting another one by the end of the month. So all that means is that total on campus, we have 67 vacancies. So we're gonna talk a little bit about some things you all might be able to do to help me with that. But also, just so you know, as an update, I know our new villas have been a big topic of conversation. I am happy to announce we only have 4 of our new villas that do not have deposits on them. And we have quite a few people who are interested in those 4. So those new villas I'm expecting here in the next month or 2, they're going to be completely sold out. So fingers crossed, we're doing great things. Also, just so you know, we do have some big events coming up. With all of COVID, we've done a lot of restricting of events, and you all have faced that as well as us in the sales office. But I'm excited to let you know tomorrow is gonna be a pretty big event. We've got about 35 different families coming in. They're doing what's called a tour of homes. So if you live in the D building, we actually have 2 models in the D building They'll be looking at those two models on the first floor and the second floor, and then they'll be looking at some of our villa homes, as well as the health center and here in the clubhouse. So that will be tomorrow from 1 to 3 p.m. So if anybody wants to help mill about the clubhouse, be in the health center lobby, be in the D building courtyard, you are more than welcome to join us as well. I always say that because really, you all live the life every day. I'm here to help facilitate. I joke around, I'm like the college tour guide. I tell them where all the good things are, but you know what happens after hours and on the weekends when I'm not here. So your participation is greatly appreciated, and if you're not comfortable with that, that's okay too. And then another big event that we're looking to do, we are doing a neighborhood happy hour. March 30th, you all are invited because you are the center of the neighborhood. We actually sent out about 1,600 mailers to people within 1 mile of the community who are both financially qualified and age appropriate for us here. So I'm expecting a really good return on that. That's gonna be March 30th from 4 to 5 o'clock. It's gonna be all here in the clubhouse, between here and the Longwood Room and in the Heron Club. But I invite you to all come, mix and mingle. There will be some drinks on the sales team, limit of 2, just throwing that out there. But there's also gonna be a lot of people out in the community who are gonna be joining us as well to kind of understand more about what this lifestyle is all about. So happy to announce we've got deposits coming in. We took another one yesterday. We've got closings that are scheduled. We've got new families moving in, so you're gonna get some new neighbors. And I am going to take a moment to apologize for any construction. If it's near you or in your building, just listen to it and say it's angels singing and it's the sound of progress. Because we're gonna get some new residents in here and they're gonna be your new neighbors very soon. So that is all that I have. Next up on the docket will be Richard. So thank you so much.
Sarah, what's the occupancy rate?
I'm sorry?
What was the occupancy at the end of February?
Occupancy was 184, that is
No, percentage, what percentage?
70.22%.
70.22.
Yes.
Good morning, folks. Just a couple of updates here this morning. Just want to bring you up to date with the roof painting project. We are on the D&E buildings now, finishing up the outer parking structures. They're cleaning them this morning. They'll have them done sometime, I'm hoping by the middle of next week. And that'll kind of wrap that area up and kind of get life back to somewhat normal with the vehicles playing musical chairs with them. So we'll try to get that squared away. Weather permitting, of course, because we're seeming to be picking up a bunch of rain here in the last few days, and it's a little hard to paint in the rain. Also, to let you know, the Building A folks, I know are all pleased that their lounge is pretty much finished up. We're waiting on the furniture to come in, and that'll wrap that project. The furniture comes in kind of like 3 separate loads, so we'll see. Because basically it was, everything was back ordered at the time, so we'll see how that goes. We have been working on a change in an upgrade to our recycling program. We've ordered some new recycling containers that are going to be going in the apartment buildings in what we call affectionately as the electrical rooms on each floor. Those rooms are going to be getting a facelift. We're going to be moving the Christmas storage and other things out to some other locations. Those are going to be recycling rooms in the future. We're actually going to take that verbiage off the doors, and we're going to have on the door basically, recycling, and tell you basically what we recycle and how to take care of that. Some new containers will be in there. We will no longer at that point have the little box that's out by the elevator. Because our recycling, the paper products and plastic all go into one container when it comes down here to us anyway, and they pick it up from there. So basically, we're just going to do away with the little one out in there by the elevator, because half the time that ends up with trash in it anyway and messes up the whole system. So basically you would take your newspaper and your paper products and put them in the same area that you put your plastics and everything will be inside that quote-unquote electrical room. So we'll be working on that this month. That's a big project for us, and we're gonna be painting them up, the rooms, and getting them cleaned up. You know, if you're in one of those buildings now, you'll notice that the trash chute room has been cleaned up. It should be getting painted. We're working our way through the campus, so a lot of that's getting done. Just trying to upgrade that a little bit and get those areas cleaned up for you. So we're gonna be working through those. And then we have, did you touch base on the project, the planner project?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so you've already talked about that, because that's gonna be a lot of stuff going on when we get that rolling. And hopefully that's gonna solve a lot of problems for us. And, let me see here. Well, you'll notice we'll be out in the next week here or so. Dino's on vacation next week, so please, if you have any gardening needs, hold on to them and give them to us in a week when he comes back, because we don't want to pile it up too bad for him. But when he comes back off vacation, we're going to be taking and working on the water to the butterfly garden, so we can get that irrigation done. And so we can get going on that project and get all that stuff happening. So the black plastic will be coming off the garden area shortly as we get ready for the spring planting. So, and I don't know if I don't remember, I don't think there was
Yeah, I
anything
touched
else.
base on phase 3 just a little bit, and we were just kind of working.
Yeah, yeah. So, is there any questions on anything?
You all didn't address the new contract with Trimac Lawn Care.
I didn't, no.
Did
So-
you mention that?
No, I didn't, but I definitely can, so, thank you for that. So, we have a company called Trimac, which is our lawn care company. We just kind of expanded out the services with them. We're not changing them out as of right now, but one of the things that we found is that when our campus expanded, we also didn't provide the additional services for our new villas that we put in. So we went back to the drawing board and kind of worked through, okay, what do we need to do to make this more of an efficient process? So, and again, more efficient process being taking out more of my Dino and Richard time so that we can work on other projects outside of what lawn care should be doing. So they were very receptive to that. And instead of having tentatively only 2 or 3 people on at a time, constantly we'll have 3 people on, but we also added an additional person 2 days a week. So that'll help us keep up with hopefully our lawn services throughout the year. Even when the rains don't come as much and things slow down, they can work on fertilizing, spraying, making sure that we're mulching and doing all those other projects that we have going on as well. The other good thing about this is that we've actually broken up our community, if you can picture this, into zones based on each week. So 4 weeks, 4 zones. So they'll be working in week 1, 2, 3, 4, and then rewinding again and doing the same thing over and over again. So that is the plan for our process there, and hopefully that'll be able to address more of the needs. Trying to put that back on them for as much as we pay for our lawn services, it should be back on their leadership to make sure that they're addressing that. So thank you.
Thank you. I had one other question for Richard. The dark mulch truck, I watched it slowly come up the main road and turn around and go back, and it hasn't, of course, come around to the circle or us. But I wondered if you were able to get them to maybe do everything before they go off and do that other project.
Well, I don't have a count at where we're at on our mulch, where, how much we've used out of our allotment. I think we're pretty close, but we're prepared to add a little bit to that to get everything done. Vernon and I have talked about it. We just wanted for them to use up their allotment first.
Oh, I see.
That's in our contract.
Yeah.
And when they cry uncle, then we'll figure out what we're gonna do from there. So
We'll
that's.
see them again.
Yes. So I think we're getting pretty close, but we got a lot of the campus covered.
That's
So
wonderful.
we were able to, and in the circle and stuff, we had already mulched once.
Yeah.
So it was gonna be more of a lighter coating just for color more than anything.
Yeah, but that dark looks so pretty.
Oh,
But
it does.
did you ever get the 4 villas across from building C?
The back of,
535.
the back of those, I don't know if we've got to those yet,
Backs
so,
and fronts,
yeah,
yeah.
yes,
They're still missing.
yes.
Don't worry.
I have the same question, Richard, that Village Place villas have not been done yet.
Okay, yeah. I know that they were working their way up, I guess, the other side of the road and then coming back,
And
so.
we need the cleaning of that area.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why we hadn't done it, is because we need to go, the landscape company needs to go through there and do a cleaning and getting everything ready for the mulch to go in. So, and we'll be getting on that very shortly, so.
Thank you.
Yes,
Well, excuse me, will we ever recycle glass?
there's no plan on it at this point. Our recycling contractor does not do glass. And the reason is because of the way they haul it, it's dangerous. So you have to have specific, different kinds of containers than what they use. They have a big compactor truck come in and pick the dumpster up, and basically that could cause breakage and pieces of glass on the road and stuff like that, so.
Thank you.
So, and, is that the same thing?
Yeah, I was gonna ask about, because I have friends in the area here who are recycling glass.
Yes,
And I'm
yes.
wondering, why can't we incorporate glass?
Yeah, it's, and, you know, and it goes with, it's the type of programs, and most of the county programs, the city, like Altamont where I'm at, just up the road, they have a full, but they have a separate container that you put tin and glass in, and then they have one for paper products and stuff, and they keep them separated in the truck, and that's the little ones that they pick up. Ours is bulk picked up by a big truck after our people put it in the recycling bins out in the compound. So we're kind of at the mercy of that program, and in the future, we can talk about possible changes to that, but that contract is, we just kind of renewed our dumpster contract with the company because of the new compactor over at the Oaks. So that's kind of a new contract that we have there. So we can entertain that in the future. I mean, you know, we got to be careful that we don't create more labor demand too on our part, because, you know, we got to watch. Recycling doesn't pay us. We have to pay to recycle. So the days years ago when we could collect enough aluminum and paper and cardboard, and they actually paid you for a container on your project and you put it in there, are long gone. So it actually cost us a lot. It's almost the same as it does to haul our trash to recycle. So that's why we're currently in the situation we are with that contractor. So.
I have one other real quick thing. I know permanent signage is going to take a while, you know, to when we get the whole project done. But y'all mentioned putting a three-way sign up, I guess, across by
It's
the
already up.
building. Is it already up?
Mhm.
Well, wonderful.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
it's right there by as you come down, right as you get to the clubhouse driveway. It's on a post there where the fire plug is.
Okay,
And you'll see it has a little directional signs. I mean, it's not real huge, but it does
but
create
it
that.
does the job.
And if you look over at the Oaks now, you'll see their address up on the building,
Good.
515. You can't miss now. So, I mean, I get there this big of letters, and it looks nice up there. It's aluminum on the building, looks very modern. So we do have it a little bit
Great,
more.
Thank you,
ID,
thank you.
yeah.
That'll be a help.
Anything else? Okay. Thank y'all.
Thank you,
It's
Richie.
okay. Chris, you were on.
Good morning. So, as always, I've come in with a big laundry list of things to communicate with everyone. But I am going to start off with something of importance that is going to be a little bit of sad news for this community specifically. They have made a few changes in the structure with the Unidyne regional offices and the LifeSpace contract. So Ron Serluco, who was our vice president for the LifeSpace contract, and Chaz Kelly are no longer going to be part of the LifeSpace contract. Ron, I'm not sure when his end date is. Chaz will be on with the LifeSpace contract, helping out at Harbor's Edge throughout the end of March. He will be making his way back up here a couple more times just to peek in and say hi to all of you as well. They have brought in the new regional vice president, whose name is Mark Southern, and our new regional director, named Masoom Rahman, who was actually here with me yesterday. For anyone that may have seen me walking around with a gentleman in a suit yesterday, that was Masoom. He's doing all of his kind of meet and greets across all of the communities. Went to Texas last week, visited with us yesterday, and is going down to South Florida. And then the both of them will be planning on coming to future meetings, probably within the next month or two, to meet with the resident council, meet with the food culinary committees. We've sent them the dates as to when we hold those meetings. So the plan is for them to be within that area. Masoom does live outside of Tampa, so he is closer to us than any other of the life-space communities that he's going to oversee. So hopefully we'll get a little bit more attention from him than the other communities might, so it'll benefit us in that regards.
What would his title be?
Regional Director.
Both of them are regional?
Mark is the Vice President, I'm trying to remember what it's,
Yeah, it's
Regional Vice President, or basically the Vice President over the life space contract and communities.
Okay. Thank you.
So, I will also make sure to let the community know, just because I know that Chaz has a personal connection with a lot of you at this property, that whenever he comes back up, I'll make sure to try and alert as many people as possible as to when he's going to be coming back up for a visit. Moving into another section, the updates, even though the job fair was not directed for the culinary department, it was more of a health center job fair. We've actually made a lot of strides on the hiring for the culinary department. I wanted to read down a couple of names, just so you're familiar with the names of some of the new servers that have come on in the past month and a half. So we have Daisha Flores, Genevieve Matos, Isabel Barina, Kyle Anderson, Michaela Green, Natalie Quinones, Sebastian Peavy, and Travis Shepard, who are all the servers for this side of the campus. We have had another additional 4 servers hired in for the health center assisted living as well. And then Orlando has 5 more that we are calling in the pipeline right now. That is assuming everything goes through with their fingerprints, their background, the onboarding, they'll be coming in soon as well. So it's a big leap forward in the amount of servers, where from August to December, we couldn't get a single applicant to save our life, and then in the past month and a half, all of a sudden we have almost 12 new hires coming in the span of a month and a half.
And are they high school?
Most of them are high school. We do have a few of those names that are a little bit older, and you will see them more in the daytime hours, just because that's when the high school kids are in school.
Yeah.
And some of them have a wealth of background specifically in bartending, which will be another point that I'll transition to here in a second as far as the bar goes. But during this process, we're going to plan for a big training session the first Saturday in April, after all the kids get through their spring break weeks at their various schools. Like I had said in the previous meeting, every single pre-shift we go through a steps of service training, where we'll do step 1 one evening, step 2 the next night, just keep repeating the cycle to go over those server basic trainings with them. But we still like to do big community group trainings where they can all sit down and practice their serving skills and capabilities. But as you encounter some of these new faces and new names, please continue to fill out those comment cards about reporting back how they did. Even if it's something that you might need to improve on, or if they're doing a great job, please let us know. But we are making sure that they are going to be coming out and introducing themselves, and to continue to learn your names and you learn their names as well.
Aren't their names, the new ones' names posted yet anywhere?
I am not sure, but if they are not, then I'll make sure that we get them
I think it
posted
might be a
somewhere.
nice idea, as we enter in.
Absolutely. I know that Mrs. Goldstein has been going around with a lot of our new hires, taking their
Yeah,
pictures
she
and
has, yeah.
trying to update that as well. So to transition on bringing in some qualified bartenders, that is one of the areas that we acknowledge has been a little bit lackluster, is that brand new bar, but not really a wealth of bartending experience and bar culture. So on top of bringing in some more regular people to work and to train, we started putting in the basics. We have an entire book that we put together that gives them all of their tools that they need, their training terminology, and then this gives them a list with a picture of what the drinks are supposed to look like, all of their recipes, so that way they're not pulling out their phones as much trying to Google what you're requesting of them at the bar. Understand with the young kids, a lot of them haven't had their first bartending experiences before. They don't know a lot of the drinks that we consider standard staples. So this book will give them all of their standard staples that they can flip to this and have their recipes readily available. Along with that server training, that then allows us to start doing more bartender training, making sure that we have all the equipment, the necessary ingredients, and so on and so forth to really start building up a bar program. Once we have those bartenders in place, trained and capable, then we plan on start doing more bar activities, bar events, happy hour promotions, things of that nature to really kind of start driving that bar culture. Another thing that you may have seen over in the bar that we talked about last meeting, we do have our grab and go up and running. I will be sending out a survey because the grab and go, we opened it up kind of very light offerings. So it does look a little basic right now with just kind of chicken salad, egg salad, tuna salad, ham sandwich. But we do want to hear the feedback of the residents of what are you interested in seeing in that grab and go. We want to make sure that we are putting in items that are twofold, that you are interested in seeing, but then also we know will move, so we're not throwing out sandwiches 3 days after making them. That survey will be like the surveys in the past. We'll send it out in a door hanger, we'll put it in your to-go bags, we'll have copies of it at the grab and go, we'll have copies of it at the host stand to try and capture as many results and feedback as possible. But we are planning on continuing to grow and expand that grab and go based on your suggestions of what you want to see in there. I'm kind of going all over the place on this. The other change that we made in last week's door hanger that some of you may have seen is that we are putting together a culinary newsletter that will go out every single week. We figure this is a good way to kind of organize a lot of the information instead of sending multiple pages in that door hanger where we address a supply chain issue and then we're sending out another piece of paper that has upcoming events and another piece of paper that talks about something else, to have it all in one area. The 3 sections that you'll see on this are going to be the announcements on the right-hand side, which is where we'll give weekly updates of things that we're working on, any type of supply chain issues we might have, just to keep the community in the loop. All of the events that we have listed here, some of the feedback that we've received from the residents is we don't know what events require signups. So we'll send out a big calendar of events and then people say, oh, I didn't know I had to sign up for that event, or I didn't know what the if that was a complimentary event or something I'm going to be charged a meal credit for. So the ones that will appear on the dining dish are going to be the ones that do require a sign up. So you'll hear Sarah talked about her happy hour. That's a sales event. You're not going to see that on this particular list. This list will be just the culinary events that require you to go up to the host stand and sign up in advance for them. And then the one down the bottom is going to be our note from our dietitian every week that will give dietary topics, some health food facts. For example, this week we were talking about how to customize some of your options based on your dietary restrictions or what you're looking for. My specific example would be all of our fish. We order in our fish fresh and we cut them in-house. So if it's a breaded fish or it's a fried fish, it does sound a little bit unhealthy. Oh, I'm eating fried food all the time. We can take that fish and saute it or bake it or poach it, and so make it a little bit healthier of an option for you. And that's the kind of the premise that we were putting across in the dietitian's note this week. But we're going to continue to do that just to give more health feedback, health options, and health knowledge to the community every week. The on the announcement side, whenever I was talking about the supply chain, we have seen stabilization in the supply chain, only to turn around and have what is currently going on over in Europe kind of start getting ready to throw things into upheaval. One of the concerns, we haven't seen anything yet, but concerns that we are worried about is the inflation on food pricing, if that is going to impact the amount of trucks that deliver food products to the warehouses that we receive the food from. And then the other one is that apparently there is a big mineral that is mined in Russia that is used for global fertilizers. And they are predicting that they might see an impact whenever it comes to grain growing, corn harvesting, different fruits and vegetables that require the fertilizer that uses this mineral. So we've been kind of put on alert to keep an eye on this. We haven't seen any impacts yet, but as we get information to say there might be some disruptions in food supplies or there might be some shortages in certain categories, we'll put out those announcements in here as well as communicating through forums such as this one to keep you all in the loop as far as what's happening kind of economically. But on a positive note for the supply chain, we have a contract in place now, and starting on March 17th, Hershey will be our official ice cream supplier, so we don't have to keep on juggling around all these different Cisco shortages and them running out of various different flavors. So we're gonna have Hershey's brand ice cream coming in for the community and all the different flavors.
Do we like their ice cream?
The communities in South Florida that have made the transition have said it's very comparable to what they were receiving through Ice Cream Club. So I'm gonna take their word at what it is, but I would appreciate the feedback as we get that in to see what we think of the new ice cream changes. Again, that's not gonna take effect until March 17th. So anything from that point on, please let us know. If it turns out to be something, Hershey's does tend to have a pretty good reputation. They've been around for over 100 years, so I would hope that they were doing something right, but we do want the feedback. And the only final thing, I just know that it's been a topic of conversation about the Sable tomorrow at our culinary committee meeting. We are going to be finalizing all the plans for the Sable Fine Dining Room, and then once we have all those finalized plans, we will put out all the information for the community as far as the what's being offered, what days it's available, what times, the whole entire portfolio of what that dining program is going to look like. And that's it for my long laundry list at the moment.
The grab and go in the Heron Club, now those items there charged in addition to our daily food allotment?
So they are in addition, but we do have a sign there for a meal equivalent, kind of like how at the end of the month we have that market cart program. If you would like to use a meal credit, they will give you the option of selecting one of the categorized entrees, a side, it's 4 options, any 4 options that you would want to have. So if you wanted to do a sandwich, a salad, a side of fruit, and a drink, then you can use a meal equivalent for it.
The drink is in one of the 4.
Yes,
Okay.
and the concept behind the grab and go is just to be that if you didn't want to use a meal credit, you just want to come up and have a quick half a sandwich, you're not using a full meal credit to grab a quick sandwich while you're out and about in the community. But it is in addition to, just kind of like an extra item.
Bruce, if in the grab and go scenario, if you have, let's say $10 or $12 grab and go charges on your bill, and at the end of the month you have 2 or 3 meals that are unused, do those offset or can they offset?
I will, at the moment they do not offset. I will get with Stephanie to see if there's a way that we can make that offset and get back to you on that, so I'll put that note down. That's more of a technology system issue to see if it's able to do that, because otherwise we might have to go through everybody's individual account and make that adjustment, and that might not be something that's possible, but I will take a look at that. And I saw another hand.
The names you mentioned for the new servers, I've met and spoken with all but one of those names, and I find them very engaging, very respectful, and they all seem to be competent. So I want to give you a compliment on that. On another subject, perhaps supply chain. There's too much supply of air coming through the vents. If you're not sitting under a vent, you get cold in about a half an hour. I realize you need to get the people out and change over the tables often as possible, but it's just too uncomfortable. If you're under the vent, you're getting blown on constantly. If you're not, you're a bit away from there, and you're getting too cold within a short time.
So I'm going to defer that in your direction, Richard. That's something we'll take a look at.
We'll look at it.
And especially considering that they're about to start doing this new construction project, if there's something that might need to make some type of adjustment in any type of duct work, then we'll have the bodies on hand to kind of address it. But I'll make a note of that, and Richard's heard of it, so that way we can address it. And I'll pass along the compliment on the servers, because the big compliment that really goes to are our coaches. Tom, Kier, and Natalie are the ones that really spearhead the training portion of all those servers, so that is a huge compliment to them that so far it seems like the training of the new servers is going well, so I'll pass it along to them as well.
Do you have the outside dining feature in your plan in the future?
That is a question I can ask for you, because I don't know what tables and furniture might be in the scope of Life Spaces project.
No, I'm just talking about out here on the patio.
On the patio? Well,
Yeah.
we relocated some of that furniture, that old furniture, didn't we, or?
I think you're kind of talking about your special activities out there.
No, just having the patio, eat out on the patio.
Okay.
If we have the furniture, I'm all for doing outside.
Where did the furniture go?
It's on the pool deck, because we were having all the activities out there, so.
Do we need help in putting it from the pool deck back there?
You know, we just need to figure out which one we're gonna use the most.
I will ask the questions to Vern and everybody.
Think about it,
Absolutely.
because people enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We do have a pretty new barbecue plate thing back there, don't we?
Mhm.
Yeah. I know that we're in the midst of discussing some upgrades to that area too. We're talking with Vernon about possibly bringing in some kind of canopy over it to protect us during the day when it's raining and no sun. And one of the reasons of that is that here for the next year, we're gonna be under construction, and our break room for our employees for this area is going to be disrupted until the new break room gets built. And so we're having to figure out where we're gonna be having our
Oh, that's good, that's good news.
so we're working on that. So that may run hand in hand, you know, we can, as a joint venture there. So,
I will definitely ask the questions.
That's
That
good,
moment.
Yeah.
because if the employees' break room is now outside, we can use it when they leave. That's good.
That's a good idea.
All right.
It'll all be set up and everything.
All right, so if you have any other questions, feel free to catch me anytime, send me an email, and I believe I'm passing it off to Rhonda now with her updates.
I've done it when the price is right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I think this is still on. I think it's shut off. No, it's shut off. Can you hear me now? Okay.
Speak louder.
Okay, I'll pretend like I'm at a football game, I'll yell. Okay. Okay, I'm Rhonda, your lifestyle director. Oh, it's on now, it came on. Okay, I just wanted to go over some of the events and programs we have coming up for the next couple of weeks in March. This afternoon we have tea on the outdoor, it was supposed to be on the outdoor patio, but the weather's looking kind of iffy, so we moved it inside. So this afternoon we'll have tea at 3 in the Sable. Tomorrow we have a bus to Bach Tower Gardens down in Lake Wales. We do still have room on the bus if anybody wants to join us. This is the best time of the year to go. Everything's in bloom right now, so it's a beautiful place if you've never been there. Very peaceful place. It's about an hour and a half drive to get there though, so it's going to be a full day tomorrow, but if you'd like to join us, we do have room on the bus for that. Chaplain Tom wanted me to mention he has his dementia caregivers support group tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the Oaks on the second floor activity room. If you'd like to join him for that, he will be hosting that support group at tomorrow. On Saturday night, we have a dance party here in the Longwood room. Charlie Russo will be here for the music, and we'll have tables set up, we'll have bar service. I'm not sure, Chris, if they're going to put the bar in here or if they're just going to go run drinks back and forth, but we will have bar service available.
And we'll have dance music from 7 to 8:30 p.m. here in the Longwood Room. Next Wednesday, Chris mentioned the dietitian, Lisa Bacara, I believe is her last name. Next Wednesday, she will have a presentation on gut health. Variety is the spice of life. So if you'd like to join Lisa for Wellness Wednesday, that's next Wednesday at 11 here in the Longwood Room. Next week is also St. Patrick's Day, so we have our celebration planned from 5 to 7 in the Palm Court Dining Room. David Whitty will be here for music from 5 to 7. I'm sure we'll have drink specials and beer and a special menu and all that good fun stuff. At the end of the month, on the 26th, we have a concert on Saturday evening. It's from Music Remembrance. They're bringing their Dixieland Jazz Band in, and that's on Saturday the 26th at 7 p.m. And I think that's all I have for right now. So any questions for me? No? Yes.
As I understand it, your big bands and all, you do on the last Saturday of every month, right?
I try to streamline it every month. Sometimes it's not, I'm not able to, but that's what I try to do, just to make it consistent.
Because I think it would be good for residents when they're planning their schedules out, if they, I mean, because so many of those are so wonderfully enjoyable, but the news doesn't get to us that quickly sometimes by door hanger, or, it's a little short fuse, and people have already made plans, so if they know that that you aim for the last Saturday.
That's what I try to do, yes.
Yeah,
So,
I think that would help.
okay, very good. Okay, is that it for me? Okay, well, I'm gonna turn it back over to Mrs. Blair.
To
Thank
me.
you.
Oh my
To
goodness
you.
gracious. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, Rhonda. I've been busy checking off those things that were covered, so let me go back to the beginning and sort of review our council meeting information for those who don't see the written word that gets sent out and everything. For one thing, the newcomers that Sarah talked about this month and that recently closed, I'm just going to read the last names so you can kind of get them in your head. The Richardsons, who are gradually moving into Villa 553, the Jean Crowther, F104, I said I was just going to mention the names now, I'm doing the whole thing. She's closed. Arthur and Sonny Fedrigan, Villa 138, but they're temporarily in Villa 493, which is one of the ones along here. 138 is one of the new ones, so they must be doing some work there. And Diane Rayburn in D212 closed on March 4th. So those are the newcomers that I believe she was talking about in her presentation. Now, again, we acknowledge those we've lost. I believe it was last Monday, the service for Carl Ulstead, who passed away on March 1st. I understand I didn't go to it, but it was a magnificent 2-hour-long service, and it was attended by very many people from Village on the Green. And Linda Gottschall, we just got that news this morning. I think it was just last week that I sent a notice to Zap that she was being taken to the hospital. I don't know, is my voice drowning? Maybe turn the mic towards you more. Can you hear me?
That's better.
Is that better? All right, I'll just try to speak loudly. So we lost Linda Gottschall on the 8th. Now, most everything is covered there. One of the notes of the Spiritual Life Center, I'll get to you, Mike, in a minute to say whatever you want to, but Vernon didn't mention something that he said at the council meeting, or at least I didn't hear it. The actual construction of the Spiritual Center will be part of Phase 3, but it's funded by the Life Space Foundation. Oh. All right. That sounds good, doesn't it? Okay, good. TRICARE. Now then, nothing in finance was covered. Basil, I've got notes, or do you want to give your?
Well, just very quickly, I think the new news is that the finance committee looked at some of the plans, and we all got notices that the strategic plan had been approved by the board of directors. Is that, you all got that notice on the blackboard? And we did send a note to Jesse to follow up on that, to ask a couple questions with regard to the home office allocation, with regard to general and administrative expenses and future activities. So I hope to get a pretty good feedback on that, that we'll share when we get it. Thank you.
That's perfect, yeah, we'll wait for the answer and you will be informed about that. Let's see, community services, I think was pretty well covered. Steve, was there anything that you found to be lacking?
I think we covered the majority of it.
Yeah, I do too. Now, Dick Altman is not here. The healthcare committee, I'm just gonna do some highlights because there was a lot of news. Missy is still promising to replace the inadequate lab service that we currently have. We don't have a time frame, but that was mentioned at the meeting. We have not heard back from LifeSpace about first aid for independent living residents. It's very important to us. Richard is needling Vernon as much as he possibly can about it. We just haven't gotten there yet with that. We understand that a dedicated room can be made available for a massage therapist in the Phase 3 plans, and that when it's available, Vernon will consider a full-time massage therapist. Dick has found a dentist who will serve our needs at Village on the Green if we can supply an outfitted room, outfitted with equipment. So now he's on the warpath for getting equipment, used equipment, any kind of equipment, and so we'll be hearing more about that. A pain management specialist, Dr. Kanan, which is spelled K-A-N-N-A-A-N, has been lined up to give a presentation in the Longwood Room in April, but the date hasn't been firm. Missy talked about the fact that the Oaks is a great financial success for us at Village on the Green. That's good news. And Tom McCree is trying to establish a support group for caregivers, so there'll be more on that from him. Missy said that a second COVID booster shot, is not necessarily recommended for everybody at this time. When it is recommended for everybody, or if it is recommended for everybody, she'll see to it that we are given it here on campus as we have been the others. So that they're just, waiting for whatever the guidance is. And then the last thing from the health center is that the guardian angels are still not available, can't be available to work on the skilled nursing side. It's just too risky. Now, we got good news today from Vernon, so maybe that will be changing, but that was the news last week. Now, Al, the friendship table, you gave some news about that. Do you want me to just read what I put in the minutes? You sure? Okay.
That's fine.
All right. He talked about the friendship table, which is hosted by a neighbor-to-neighbor member, is offered the first and third Wednesday at 5:30. And that is hosted, and there's a sign-up book at the hostess stand for that. An additional unhosted table is being looked into on the second and fourth Wednesday, maybe be available by April. And that too will be for signing up. You would have to sign up for it, but it would be in a second table, and a door hanger or something in the Green Horizons, or both, will be coming out to announce that start. And he also encouraged resident council members to sign up for these various and sundry events. Sue, I mentioned a thing about the last Saturday. Is there something else from the social committee?
I think Rhonda pretty much covered it.
She pretty much covered it, didn't she? Yeah. Culinary was covered. Dee Balliette, there's Dee. She wants us to have a plan for when we move the library. Now the team members of Old Richard's here. Anything that comes up about the library, let's try to keep Dee informed about, scheduling and that sort of stuff. Okay, Dee?
So that wouldn't be it wouldn't be until the first phase of the project is completed, and we start looking at what we're doing over here, which is probably 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, well, that was my understanding, but I think she was getting nervous as Treva was moving desks and carrying on. So anyway, I think you can relax a little bit, Dee, on that. The Breedy Wilkins program reported that revenues are down. It's just the way things are right at the moment. But we specifically asked residents who contribute to Breedy Wilkins through their brokerage firms, make your information, your personal information, known to them so that it can go to the Central Florida Foundation that administers our monetary intake. And because otherwise, they don't report it to us and we have no idea. We just get an amount in a brokerage firm and we're unable to thank you. And of course we do, but I believe we've got that settled. I think we got word back from Central Florida Foundation. They're going to be monitoring that very, very closely. But from our end, it would help if you identify yourself to your brokerage and of course keep the donations coming in. Now, Mike, how about the foundation? Do you want to, my main takeaway for the foundation was that among other adjustments you're making, you're going to require in your guide written endorsement of the resident council on all project proposals before they go to the foundation advisory committee, and that your first project proposal you expect to be entered fairly soon. So come on up and say what you want to about it, okay, Mike? And then we just have the building comments. I'll go through those quickly after Mike is finished.
Testing, 1, 2, 3, everybody hear me?
Yes.
Real well. The foundation committee works closely with the resident council for the express purpose of fulfilling the wishes of our residents. If you have an idea for improvement or change within the Village of the Green, we can make it happen. A project proposal comes through the resident council to the foundation. If the resident council finds it a program that's beneficial for the entire community, it's pretty well that it will be approved. However, while the money does come from our residents, the final approval belongs to LifeSpace. So while we will recommend one way or another to LifeSpace, they will make the final approval, perhaps with some adjustments. That's pretty much the way it works, but it starts with the residents filling out the project proposal form, which should be found on the, what's the...
resident app?
I'm sorry?
The resident app?
Touchdown.
Well, the resident app, Touchdown, that's the one I'm thinking of. Touchdown it's there. If you don't have access to that, get in touch with me, I'll get you a form. We'll probably try to put it in a door hanger pretty soon as well. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you, Mike. Now we have the resident representative reports. I'll go through those quickly. I can't focus on people really fast here. Sue talked about the fact that the lounge renovation was done in Building A, of course, and we're happy about that. The furniture is due the first week in April. I think Richard mentioned that. Leo Smith at the council meeting seemed to have some trouble about cascading messages that come into the building representatives, cascading them forward. And Larry Herbert, Leo is in Building B, Larry Herbert in Building D said that what he does is he saves whatever messages and just sort of writes his own little Building D called Delta Notes, and he just puts them out whenever it seems appropriate. Because the big problem are your residents who don't have email addresses. Of course, you can just push a button and forward anything that comes the other way, but the other means that you simply have to walk around to every single place. And I thought that suggestion from Larry was kind of a good one, you know, if you all want to consider it. Of course, building representatives can run their buildings any way they want to. It's not for us to dictate what you do. But we do like everybody to be as informed as possible. Ron Hofer in Building E said they're enjoying their newly painted roofs, all the new recolorization that's been going on. There was, I think we reported to Richard that there was inadequate lighting for people in golf carts driving back to Building F. I believe that's been considered. I didn't have any news from Villa 1. Stan was absent. He was out of town or had just come back from out of town and has been suffering from a cold since he's been back. And Zaf reported that he has monthly get-togethers with his residents at Villas 2 on the fourth Tuesday of every month from 2 to 4. And he's had a very good turnout. The majority of the residents who come are from the new villas, and of course they don't know so much about Village on the Green yet. And he, you know, assured them through Vern that Vern has an open door policy. If they have specific questions, just call up Vern and make it known. We know that there's a chain of command in a way, but they're new and they should be able to just call Vern. And I thought it was very nice of Vern to do that. Now, Steve, I had a little note of a suggestion that you made having to do with equipment in the Heron. Do you want me to mention that?
I think it's going to be brought up in the culinary committee.
Oh, it is, all right. So there was a suggestion about the equipment in the Heron Club, the cooking equipment, and that will be brought up in the culinary meeting. And once again, the microphone issues, Barbara Grossman, these are our at-large people, Barbara underscored again about the microphone issue. I think we've done pretty well today with the microphone. I don't know about you, but we have, of course, we don't know how the audio translated to the people watching at home on Channel 3. But anyway, oh yes, there was one other thing. Until April 12th, the UCF Life program is still open, and Village on the Green sends a bus once every Tuesday. The bus can hold 12 people. Currently only 6 are signed up to go. It leaves at 7:30 in the morning, and I think they usually get back about, 1:30 or 12:15. So it's a good morning commitment, and they're wonderful programs. I've been to one. I just can't commit that amount of time yet to do it, but if you're interested and want to see what it's all about, this would be the time to do it, I believe. And I think that pretty well covers everything that went on at our meeting. And the next one will be, in April. Somewhere after. The council meeting will be the first Thursday in April, and the residents meeting will be the following Wednesday. I don't have the dates handy right now. So that's it for me, for the council, signing off. Have a good day.